Hello, people. I'm gonna drink what I think is one of my favorite kind of old-fashioned extra pale ales. It's Rising Tide's Daymark. So this is just called an American Pale Ale. It was not exactly their flagship, but one of their oldest beers they've continually made, and I've been drinking for years. It's 5.5% alcohol, and they use a little bit of rye in it. I don't know if they use a pale rye version. I don't think they do, but they just use a small amount, so it doesn't really change the color, and they don't use any caramel malts. It's not that kind of hoppy rye beer that a lot of breweries make that is also, caramely and sweet. And that's one reason I like it a lot. And it is, they use, Centennial and Columbus, I believe, or Centennial and Chinook in this beer. Pretty sure it's Centennial Columbus. So old-fashioned sea hops. Oop. And this is a pretty fresh can. It's canned on the 15th, so it's 17 days old. Yeah, sometimes you see some older cans of this around, which is a little bit sad because the stuff is really good if you can get it. Even, 2 months old, and this stuff is in really good shape. I know how to package it well. So let's jump right in. So Rising Tide has not really gone into the true New England IPA style, and I'm happy for it. They don't need more of those in Portland, Maine, which is where they are. As you can see, it's very pale and just an extremely light haze in there. And the bottom of this glass is a little dirty, so you see lots of big bubbles in there coming up. That's what happens when you have a dirty glass. But it still is maintaining a very nice head, fine bubbles, very, very, very white. And it looks almost like champagne. It has that classic, very grapefruity and fresh, sappy pine aroma, but not too earthy. But it really, really just explodes with Columbus aroma. Maybe the rye helps to underline some of the extra spicy notes from the Centennial, but it just smells so citrusy and refreshing, but it doesn't smell like it's going to be too bitter. And it's definitely not sweet. Really nice and pale and dry. I think this is actually one of the beers that brought me back to drinking more hoppy beers after, this is years ago. I was getting tired of the extremely bitter beers, hoppy beers and IPAs. And then I had this one and I was like, wow, full hop flavor, not too bitter, really pale and refreshing. I love that. It's almost like a minerally smell too. But just lots of citrus, grapefruit and orange and lemon and lime. Prickly body. Definitely some malt flavor in there. And some malt sweetness, but it matches the bitterness, and it's not very high in bitterness either. And it gets really perfume-like and rosy in the flavor too. The head is sticking around happily. A light body, but a nice sort of smooth body. I would say it's not seltzery. The carbonation it's not like you're drinking soda. It's just goes smoothly over the palate. It's not quite like velvety. Sometimes I like to use that term for some New England IPAs. It's not like that, but it's almost like, I guess it reminds me of the feel a little bit of like Pliny the Elder. These beers that are very clear, but they just know how to use their malt to make the feel really nice. Yeah, and it's right on the edge of being too bitter in session IPA category, especially when it's this fresh. And it really overtakes your palate after a while. It's lots and lots of flavor, but not too much. It's not an unpalatable sort of West Coast IPA or West Coast Pale Ale. It's too bitter and too malty. It's not that. I think a lot of people who like their New England IPAs might really find this refreshing, literally and figuratively, especially in the summer months if you want something that's lots of hop flavor, really fruity, but lighter bodied and easier to drink. I guess I would call this crushable, probably. I don't pass it up, especially because now it's in these 4-pack cans. It seem to move a little more quickly because this is the popular thing, and you can even see these at like Total Wine, even those stores like that. But there it's really cheap, but it's still, most stores sell for like 11 or 12 bucks a 4-pack, probably less, and it's worth it. I would get this one. I'd give it a 4.25 maybe. In a different mood, maybe a 4.5. When I had this for the first time in a long time last fall, I was like, whoa, this is really, really good. And I was, in that frame of mind, I was like 4.5, but now I'm thinking like maybe 4.25. But Centennial is just a really interesting hop, and it's really nice to have it in the really strong and forward in beers that aren't West Coast IPAs with a crap load of caramel malt and that are way too bitter. This way you can really appreciate it and all the different citrus and pine, but then like floral, rosy type perfume things. Yeah, it's good. Get this beer. Bye.